let's take a look at our top selections for Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The feature race at the fairgrounds on Saturday is a Kentucky Derby prep. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 2 $400,000 Risen Star Stakes, going 1 1/8 on the main track. We're expecting a couple of scratches in here, Defeater and Keep Me in Mind, but it's still a big field. It should be a solid pace, and there are some very promising 3-year-olds in here, Mike.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel like this could be a very interesting race as we sort of creep along on the Derby trail. There are some talented 3-year-olds in here.
Horse on the far outside. His name is Right and Just, and he has won his last 2 races in gate-to-wire fashion against weaker company. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and Right and Just, I guess from the outside post, he is just going to have to go. And if he does go, he might hook up with Midnight Bourbon, who was able to get to an easy lead last time out in the LeCompte. No easy leads for Midnight Bourbon here, but I guess the good news for Midnight Bourbon is I would just let Right and Just go. Midnight Bourbon can sit second.
Yeah, he can sit a little bit here. We'll see how fast it gets, Dan. Right and Just, if nothing else, I guess he will have to show speed from out there. The post position draw didn't do this horse any favors, especially when you consider it's probably got to improve quite a bit to beat this field.
Dallas Stewart horses often take time to develop. They need a couple of races before they find their best stride. Sometimes they need a lot of distance. I think it's a very good sign that the number 1 Star in My Dreams was ready to roll first time out, took money like he was going to roll first time out, and then came right back, stretched out over a sloppy track, and was very game to win. He's 2 for 2 for Dallas. He draws a good inside post, and he has the tactical speed to stay within range. I'm just not sure what he beat last time.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that stuff. I don't know what he beat either, and he's stepping up into a pretty tough prep race here. But I also agree with everything that you said about him at the beginning, Dan. I mean, you sort of feel like these horses might just need a race or 2 before they show their best. This horse ran first time out. He had really easy speed. He just sort of took that thing over all on his own, and I thought he won that race very easily. An impressive debut. I liked his race last time. Maybe he didn't beat a good field, but he was on the outside all the way in there. He would not let the leaders get away from him, and he closed them down at the end. And that was a sloppy track too. Who's to say he wanted a sloppy track that day? I think this horse is very interesting in here.
Both of the number 2 Proxy's victories came with Lasix. Lasix off here, but he's run well both times without Lasix. He's never been out of the exacta from his 4 starts. The LeCompte was a race that was kind of a merry-go-round race, though, wasn't it? Just the speed scratched. Midnight Bourbon, Proxy, Mandaloun ran 1, 2, 3 around there. Proxy had his look at Midnight Bourbon into the stretch and just got turned away.
True enough. I mean, I agree with you, though, that I think he's run well in all 4 of his starts so far. Lasix or not. Distance doesn't seem to be any problem for him. I respect the fact that he just keeps sort of taking steps forward every time he runs. He ran fine last time, and he was very game to prevail for second. I just feel like he makes a lot of sense right back.
Number 3, Beep Beep, is a Mary Lou Whitney homebred who won the career debut going 7 as the favorite. They knew at Churchill Downs that Beep Beep was going to be ready for Norm Cassie. First start against winners, was beaten that day by Right and Just, but didn't really get that forward position that I was expecting.
Yeah, I agree. I think the trip might have worked against this horse last time. I'd be willing to give him another chance in here. He's going to be a price. Now, he hasn't landed in one of those soft early prep races. I feel like he's landed in a pretty tough one. But I can see this horse taking a step forward in here.
The number 4 Carillo was a very impressive debut winner at Aqueduct when conditioned by Chad Brown. Let's watch this son of Union Rags running a 1-turn mile. He earned a very respectable 76 Beyer speed figure. He is on the outside in this race, and he is going to close them down. After this race, he went through the auction ring. He sold for $875,000 and will now make his first start for Tom Amoss.
He ran really well in this race, Dan. Got bumped on both sides at the start of the race. He wound up last early, but you saw the run that he made. He wins it very easily with a respectable Beyer speed figure. He didn't beat a great field. I feel like that's something that you sort of have to point out. The field that he beat is not great, but he beat them the right way. I feel like this horse has a lot of upside.
Senor Buscador is up next. This is a son of Mineshaft. Perfect 2 for 2 at Remington Park, and he fired in the Springboard Mile. His final start as a 2-year-old. He is widest, he is fastest in the stretch, and he earned a 93 buyer speed figure. He got some help up front in this race, but I like the way he's finishing up.
It's hard not to like the first 2 starts from this horse. He's come with powerful stretch runs. One at 5.5 furlongs, and then the second one at a 2-turn mile. I mean, those 2 races look exactly the same, Dan. Outrun early in those races, swinging around the field, and just, I mean, absolutely storming through the stretch. That was a fast race last time. I don't think it was a good field. He did have some pace in front of him, so maybe you want to look at the races that way. But I just can't knock this horse. He's run really well in both of his starts.
I'm a big fan of Lecomte winner Midnight Bourbon. He's just a big, good-looking son of Tisnow. You weren't worried about the 2 turns. And when there were scratches, and key scratches there were in that race, that left Midnight Bourbon all alone on the lead. He finished it off the right way, but he got everything his own way in that race, and he might have to go faster as he goes longer at a comparable price.
Yeah, that was the only knock I really had on this horse, Dan. You really like this horse. You've been right about him right along, and you were right about him last time in the Lecomte. But man, you just can't get away any softer than he got away on the lead last time. Just absolutely walking up the backstretch, and he had plenty left when Proxy and Mandaloun came for him in there. Just that alone makes me want to see him do it again against what's probably a better field this time. But I won't be surprised when he wins again.
There's the Asmussen formulator fact. Last out winning 3-year-old dirt router, second off the layoff. That's Midnight Bourbon. You don't expect a bounce for an Asmussen horse. 26% winners, 255 ROI. Obesos is up next. Obesos has won his last 2 starts sprinting for an underrated trainer in Greg Foley. Now, this horse hasn't figured out the starting gate yet. He's going to get a little bit more ground, a lot more ground, stretching out 3 furlongs. I didn't love the field he beat last time out. So even though he got a respectable figure, I need to see it going 1 mile and 1/8 against better horses.
Yeah, they're asking a lot of him, and he has a little bit of that closing sprinter look at this point. So you have to, see what he does stretching out. But listen, I don't mind them taking a shot in here, stretching him out in a pretty tough field. He's going to have some good horses to outkick. There are other closers in here, but this horse has run fine in his last 2.
Sermononmount, 2 for 2 at Delta Downs. Let's watch his race last time, going a 2-turn 7 furlongs. Now winners a 2 life allowance. You don't see horses usually close from here at Delta with this short stretch. So let's give Sermononmount some credit here. He inherits the lead in mid stretch to win with a 66 buyer speed figure. He's 2 for 2 at the fairgrounds. They've run him at Delta. They've run him once at the fairgrounds, and he didn't run very well sprinting.
He didn't. That was a stakes try. They got him back into an allowance race last time, and he got the job done. He's got to run a lot faster.
Santa Cruiser is next. We're expecting the feeder to scratch. 4th in the Lecomte last time out, but isn't this one of the horses, one of the sneaky horses you might want to consider out of the Lecomte, considering there was no pace going on, that he didn't break, that he's last in double-digit lengths off the lead in his first start off a 2-month layoff, and that he actually showed a little something, passing some horses in the stretch. He'll get a better setup this time around for a really good trainer in Keith DeZormo.
Yeah, that was one of the surprising things, I guess, about the Lecomte. And whether you liked him or not, I don't think you really could have handicapped that race and felt like he was going to be last early behind a slow pace. But he was. He never factored in there. Maybe he's the kind of horse you want to give one more chance to.
Brad Cox has Mandaloun in here, blinkers on. He was the beaten favorite in the Lecomte. Here's the formulator fact for Brad, who seems to do well with just about every move, but here's 3-year-old dirt routers adding blinkers, 10 for 32, $2.28 ROI, chased 3 wide around the track last time out in the Lecomte. If you want to be disappointed that he didn't get up for second, I guess I can understand that. I think just the pace worked against him that day. I think he has upside. I think the blinkers are going to work for him, and the trip should as well. I think he has enough speed to avoid being hung out too wide going into the first turn.
I can't argue with any of that stuff, Dan. I liked his first 2 starts quite a bit. I'm not going to be too hard on him for the Lecomte last time. 3 wide off of a slow pace all the way. Maybe he should have been second, but it's not like Proxy is some kind of bum that he didn't get by. That horse is actually pretty good. I mean, I guess the only problem that I would have with him is how do you really separate him and Proxy off of that race? And, that being said, why would you want a shorter price on Mandaloun once again? I don't know, maybe this is the kind of horse that you're just supposed to take this time and say he's going to run better. But I would want him to drift in price a little bit, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Keep Me in Mind will run in next week's Southwest Stakes at Oaklawn. Right and Just completes the field. He is the projected pace setter on the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector. He's won his last 2 starts. He went fast from start to finish to pull off a $46 upset last time out. This is going to be tougher.
Yeah, I think it is. I guess they'll send him to the lead and see what happens.
Top pick time for the Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes. Mike likes Star in My Dreams. Why not? Should work out a really good trip from mid-pack, second or third flight while saving grounds. Done nothing wrong in his career. As Mike says, I just think Mandaloun's going to run a lot better here with the addition of blinkers. I think he's finally going to live up to his potential. There's been a little bit of hype around this horse since his debut.
Yeah, I'm not weighing. I don't have him in my top 4, Dan, but I'm not, way against him. It was just one of those situations where I don't know how to separate him and Proxy, especially if Proxy's going to be a better price again. So I wasn't going to pick either of them. With that being the case, Senor Buscador, I think he's a huge player in this race. I don't want to throw him out. I think Carillo is going to run well in here too. But I like Starting in My Dreams. I like both of his races, and he's going to be a price.
Really good field for the Risen Star. Mike's going 1-4-5-2. I'm going 11-5-6-2. And approximate post time is 6:18 Central. Good luck.